Good evening, everyone. I hope you're very well this evening. Let me know if you can hear me in the stream. Whoops, something changed. Oh, here we go. Let's get this show on the road. Exactly, Richard. So, Glasgow Kiss, welcome to the stream again. Wolfgang, hi. Meckerpot, welcome. Jerry Watson, welcome. Thank you very much for your comment, Jerry. I hope everyone's well tonight. You can hear us, good. I hope you're safe and well. I'm very well tonight. Yesterday I wasn't feeling the best, so I went to bed a bit early, but then I couldn't sleep, so I was on Twitter for a bit, but I wasn't up for doing a live stream. I wasn't fully myself last night, so I decided it'd be better not to do it. So thank you very much, Glasgow Kiss, for posting that. So if you'd like to support the stream, you can hit the like button. If you'd like to support me as a YouTuber, you can send me a donation. If of course if you're able to. Don't worry if you can't. I'm from the US. Great, Jerry. So we're going to talk a little bit about Bernie Sanders tonight. Of course, Boris Johnson is going to be talked about too. So I just let a few people come into the stream. So Temps, welcome. Mitch, how's it going? The Scooped Dogable. Okay. All hope is lost. I hope not. No. Michael, welcome. John Hart, welcome. Mr. Supersonic, welcome to the stream. Mark Iffy. I used to be called Jiffy for a brief period. Good evening, Mark. Boris has the clap. Tom the Eagle. The sun never surprises you. Giorgio. Hi. Yes, smash that like button. Helps bring some more people. So I don't know how, of course my software is always behind, so it says I have 51 viewers, so let's try and get that up a bit. Jenny, welcome to the stream. So how is Boris doing? Well, I've read that Boris is sitting up and taking questions, so perhaps he's improving. My question to you is, how do you find the middle position in your videos? I find the moderate position is the best in most cases. So you're from the US, so I try to view US politics as it's difficult. Probably someone coming from Europe, I'd be probably more inclined to support someone like Bernie Sanders, but I think the US is so polarized at the minute. It's difficult to choose sides. It's difficult also to stay in the middle. You're either Republican or Democrat, and I fear things are going to get even more polarized. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Kyle Kalinske. I used to be a big fan of his, but I think he's melting down at the minute because Bernie has dropped out. But we can talk talk a bit more about that later on as well. Pauline, welcome to the stream. The Freckle Punny, hi there. These names are fantastic. 1-1, welcome. John, welcome. Tom the Eagle, welcome. Matty, how's it going? Andy, welcome. First time either, so it's not hiding from journalists. Anthony C, welcome to the stream again. Great to have you back. Alan, hope you're well. I pray for him, clap for him. No chance. He didn't take the crisis seriously enough, risked his wife and his wife's unborn child. He's a conman drifter. Yeah, so my comments this morning or this evening are a little bit tongue-in-cheek, so I'm not a big fan. If you don't know, I'm not a big fan of Boris Johnson. So this whole idea of clapping for him is quite ridiculous, but Diana K, welcome to the stream. Kevin, welcome to the stream. Sorry, guys, if I haven't said welcome because we're speeding up now a little bit. We're up to 66. No DAZ, welcome. Hi from Glasgow. Welcome from Glasgow. Welcome to my Glasgow friends. We have a few here in tonight. Jimbo, welcome. Zero clapping in my town. Yeah, I think people are more inclined to vote to clap for the NHS than for Boris Johnson. Bernie did not have the widespread support like he claimed. To be honest, when he was young, he did not do as much as the needle, so to speak. He did not do much to move the needle. You have 82. I'm up to, on mine it says 80. Did you get the PayPal last week? Yes, I did. Thank you very much, Anthony C. Thank you very much for that donation. Boris brought it on himself. So about Bernie, yeah, I think he really suffered from... his support base was small but very passionate, but he needed to expand it, and that wasn't enough. Boris brought it on himself. Didn't follow his own guidelines. Yeah. The idea. Thank you very much, Anthony C. It was greatly appreciated. Boris had been told. Well, Boris had said just a few weeks ago. Hi, Cotton Cat. He had said just a few weeks ago how he was shaking hands with people in the hospital. Now, I don't know if he got it from that. It's more likely he got it from someone else in the cabinet or someone maybe in the civil service. But, promoting the idea of shaking hands with people when it was already spreading in Italy and in other parts of Europe was just insane. It's extremely irresponsible. Now it says Sky News. I just before I came on the stream, I saw the title for a Sky News video. Or no, I think it was on Twitter. Sky News had said that Boris is sitting up and answering questions. So he seems to be improving. Look, I hope he improves for himself as a human being, but what he's done as Prime Minister is completely irresponsible, and I hope there's a public inquiry after this. John O'Sullivan, welcome. Hello to everyone else if you just joined the stream. Sorry if I haven't said hello to you before. We have a lot of people. We're up to 103. That's fantastic. So remember to hit the like button. It helps to stream. He was shaking hands with hospital staff. Yes, that's true. Answering questions. Maybe from, what's her name, Laura? I don't remember her surname. I thought that Boris was not being cautious and his girlfriend with child was troubling. So I don't know if you saw my latest video, Anthony, on this, and I actually believe that Boris had been lying about all of this. It was for attention. And then it turned out, no, he wasn't lying. He wasn't lying for a change. He was telling the truth for a change. Thank you very much, Glasgow Kiss. Boris likes to reach out to people. Yeah, reach out and touch them. They said that there are enough ventilators for London. Does that mean that London has them all? See, another thing about ventilators is that, and this is a worrying fact about ventilators, is that many people who are quite sick may not be put... Glasgow Kiss, thank you so much for that kind donation. You're a star. Something about ventilators is that the older people may not be put on them because there's the risk that they're too invasive and too aggressive the treatment that they provide, and that many people who come off the ventilators don't have a good quality of life after that. There have been also talk about certain brain injuries caused by ventilation, which is not so positive. You know, we have this, and I was talking about it with someone on Twitter, I think the other day. We have this false impression from the media, from popular media, about how, you know, CPR and ventilation is a sort of panacea. It cures everything, and the quality of life of people after they come off ventilation after that is quite good, and it turns out to be not so true. Tony, a sad day for US progressives, but we'll get over it. Our fight is on just the beginning. I think so, yeah. I think it depends on how the Senate and the Congress, how the progressives work on that, because in a way probably Bernie dropping out now would probably actually be better for progressives than if he was to wait until the end and waste a lot of time. Now I think the progressives, if they want to take over the Congress or the Senate, or at least, you know, make some inroads in the Senate, they need to start working now, really get their people out after this coronavirus disaster, of course. But once that's over, hopefully, they should be really campaigning for the Senate, because that's really where the real power is, the Senate and Congress. The government is this government is what you get when there's no substance behind the facade, not a statesman amongst them. Yeah, I don't know if you've seen the videos with Dominic Raab in charge. Dominic Raab in charge is a frightening thought. How he was making such a disaster last year, also surrounding Brexit. And now he's in charge, so that's going to be interesting. I don't know if Boris is actually going to be fit to return. It could be months before he's fully recovered. Or it could be a couple of weeks, I don't know. But the information coming out of the hospital and coming out of number 10 is not so transparent. 26 likes. Come on, we have 123 viewers. We should have 123 likes. Why are you confident, Captain Kremen? Is China covering up the released virus? So it's interesting, and I was speaking to someone about this the other day, how Wee Scott's dog, welcome. So I'll just clarify. So Wee Scott's dog says a Wednesday now. So yesterday I wasn't feeling very well. I didn't have coronavirus, I promise. I wasn't feeling very well, so instead of attempting to do a stream, I said, look, it's better I try and move it to a Wednesday. So I'll also be on Friday as well, if everything goes well. So I hope you're well, Wee Scott's dog. So about numbers from China, I don't know. It's difficult to trust the information coming out of China because of their history, of course. I'm pretty sure that they have it completely locked down and they don't have any new cases. But I think the number of deaths related to the situation in China probably has been hidden from the public. Hope you enjoy reading the material. Yes, you sent me a load of things to consider, and I'll see about making some videos about the QA library. Thanks for all of that. So QA library sent me a lot of information via Twitter about issues related to the coronavirus and the medical situation and also possible cures that are in the pipeline, hopefully. Max, what do you think of the EU's chief scientist dealing with the coronavirus quitting? So that was very disappointing. Now, I only saw the headline today. I haven't read the article. I haven't read much into it. But Jerry, thank you very much for that kind donation. Jerry Watson. I don't know if it's Jerry B or Jerry. If there's a Jerry Watson here. I lost my train of thought. Yeah, but the EU. Yeah, I think if he left because he truly felt that the EU wasn't taking the situation seriously, then that's bad on behalf of the EU. Now there was a vote, I think today, to organize some sort of relief package for the European Union, and it didn't get passed. So that's disappointing as well. So I really hope that they can get their act together and implement some support for the European Union countries. And also, if this guy was he's no longer in his position because he was pushed or was he pushed or jumped, or is he in the end a scapegoat? End up a scapegoat? I don't know. We'll have to see how this story evolves. It'd be very disappointing if he was turned into a scapegoat, because we have to remember that the European Union is made up of individual countries, and they have their own axes to grind, which is quite interesting, because both, Brexiteers were saying that, well, the European Union has no teeth, it has no power, and then this virus comes along, and many of them are saying, well, why isn't it doing anything? Okay, but I thought you said that it has no power. Now you want it to have more power. Matthew Smith, thank you very much for that kind donation. Jenny Woman, have you looked at the entire political system here? They have lost their marbles. Joe Biden, mate, what marbles? So it's about, so I like this title. So it's from The Sun, which is interesting because The Sun has been lost, I think it was £80 million. So that was, I think it's 60 million pounds. So there's a risk of it going under. Of course, they'd be probably bailed out by Rupert Murdoch, but I think people have turned off from the tabloid newspapers somewhat. Glasgow Hill says the DNC will not allow a progressive to rock the boat. Remember, they are still way right of our right. I think this is something I personally think about the DNC, the Democrats, and I don't know, this is perhaps conspiracy thinking, but if you think about all the consultants and strategists and lobbyists and all the people who work for the DNC, the Democratic National Committee of the Democratic Party, there's a lot of people earning a good salary from that, as consultants or strategists or whatever. They have a nice number. They go on TV and they talk about, well, Joe Biden should do this, or Hillary Clinton should do that. In the past, Barack Obama did this was good, but he should have done that. And they earn a good bit of money from that. And Bernie Sanders would want to eliminate all of that. He wanted to eliminate all of these consultants and strategists and this type of gravy train. Okay, and they wouldn't be happy with that. So they would fight tooth and nail to stop him. And if you think about how successful many grassroots movements for the Democrats have been because of Trump, because Trump is the president, many of them have found it extremely easy to raise funds. So, like, I'm not picking on Planned Parenthood, but for example, something like Planned Parenthood, they said Donald Trump is going to take away women's rights. Give us some money, and you'll find lots of rich people and also non-rich people who are willing to give you money. And just the fact that Donald Trump is the president, a lot of these consultants or strategists are doing well for themselves. So they know that if the Democrats lost, they're not out of a job. Their position is still comfortable. But if Bernie Sanders got in and he was going to eliminate all of that, then these people would be very worried. I'm not saying that they're deliberately sabotaging the Democrats' chances of winning, but they would prefer to lose with someone who would not rock the boat than to win with somebody who would rock the boat. So I think Glasgow Kiss is right there about how they don't want someone to rock the boat. But again, this is just my own conspiracy theory. Shame about the Sun. Hardcore progressives only care about their ideology. They don't care about anything else, not here in America. It's something similar to the Momentum people in the Labour Party in the UK, where they're more interested in maintaining ideological purity than actually winning elections. And we saw that with Jeremy Corbyn, how people were talking about, no, we'd prefer to lose with Jeremy Corbyn than to win, for example. And some people have actually said it. They prefer to lose with Jeremy Corbyn than to win with Keir Starmer, because they don't trust Starmer. They'd actually prefer to lose, because many of these people are part of the political party. They're so embedded in the party. They earn a salary from that. And for them, they would prefer to maintain internal power than to lose external power, and actually by by result of that, actually losing their own power, they could actually make things better for ordinary people. But that's secondary to actually maintaining internal power. Maybe Bernie can join in the Greens and run as a third candidate, and then he'd be vilified for the rest of his years. I don't think Bernie's going to run as a third candidate. Starmer's got off to a good start. Yes, he has. I remember reading, I think it was today, that someone had the Jewish community had said that Keir Starmer had done more for the Jewish community in 4 hours of speaking with them than the Labour Party had done in 4 years. So I still defend my position that I don't buy the line that Bernie Sanders, I was reading Bernie Sanders, that Jeremy Corbyn was an anti-Semite. It was just an attempt to vilify him. And I don't really believe that the Labour Party has problems of anti-Semitism. But if people believe it, this is the idea behind the very powerful tool of belief. If somebody believes that there's a problem, then there's a problem. But if people don't believe there's a problem, then there really isn't a problem. It's about convincing people, not actually eliminating the problem, but convincing people there isn't a problem. Bernie is just there to funnel progressives back into the DNC. It'd be interesting to see what the DNC do now that with Bernie, now that he has been defanged, because he can't damage the DNC directly, but they may be interested in having him on side, because he would be very useful for them. Max, what do you think about Michel Barnier being active again next week? I heard no news at all about him until today. So he was off because he tested positive for corona. So I think he had taken his time off. He had self-isolated, and then he probably had another test and he tested negative. So then he said, okay, I'll go back to work. But I think I don't remember the date when he tested positive, but it was some time ago. So I think it was at least 2 weeks ago, because I made a video about it, or I think I made a video about it I comment, or it could have been I could have been talking about it on the stream, but I remember talking about it. Night Raven, welcome to the stream. So welcome everyone and anyone who has come on and I haven't said hello before. I hope you're well. So we're talking about Bernie Sanders and Boris Johnson. So Boris Johnson, if you don't know, if you've been living under a rock, Boris Johnson tested positive for coronavirus. Then he ran the government in isolation, and then he went into hospital, and then he was transferred into ICU. The number 10 said that he wasn't on a ventilator, but he was taking oxygen. And that was until yesterday. And then today, about a couple of hours ago, I read that he is allegedly sitting up and talking and perhaps taking questions. Now, I don't know if there's questions from the media or just questions from his cabinet, but he's allegedly sitting up. So he must be improving at this stage. But I don't want to put too much on, emphasis on that, because it could be a way to pretend that he's doing much better than he is, but because if he's in ICU, he's in a bad state. I'm not saying that he's getting worse, but it's probably in a bad condition at the moment. But if he's sitting up, that means that he's improving. So I think we should wish him well as a person. As a politician, that's another thing. Pray for Boris. Piss on him if he was on fire. Boris and Hancock were diagnosed on the same day. Why was Hancock at the BBC 6 days later and Nightingale the day after? We knew Bojo is still suffering. Yeah, so this doesn't make any sense to me. Now, there has been talk that some people recover more quickly. Now, I can understand that, and that could be quite true, that some people recover faster than others. But surely someone who has tested positive should be in complete isolation. They shouldn't be wandering around. And I saw the picture and I tweeted it about it, where you see Matt Hancock talking to medics in that new hospital set up, the Florence Nightingale, and he's not wearing a mask. He's not wearing gloves. The people who are with him are not socially distancing. It was difficult from the photo, but he was not respecting the proper distances. And, of course, if he's no longer showing symptoms, you have to remember that doesn't mean that he's not he's no longer infected, because there's a period. So there's about 4 days when you are infected and you're asymptomatic. Sorry, so you're not showing symptoms. Then for a number of days after the peak of infection, I think it's up to 5 or 6 days, you are infectious again, and you're still you still have symptoms. And then you can still have symptoms, but you're no longer infectious for up to 10 days. So there's a period of about 4 or 5 days when you're infectious, extremely infectious. For some of those days, you have no symptoms, and some days after you do. So it's highly possible that Matt Hancock didn't have symptoms, but he was infectious. Okay, so we've talked a bit about Boris Johnson. Max, I'm from Liverpool. Oops, let me scroll back up again. Max, I'm from Liverpool. We don't buy the Sun in Liverpool. Can I ask you to take the picture down? Yes, I'm taking the picture down right now. So we're going to change to something different. Just bear with me for a moment, guys. So we'll say goodbye to Boris. Bangkok is a vector. So if you're on Twitter, if you're not, then I can't recommend this. But if you are on Twitter, I do recommend that you check out John Byrne Murdoch. I don't think he's any relation to Rupert, but every day for some reason he hasn't updated it for today. But this is the information for yesterday. I hope you can see it. Let me know in the stream if you can't see it. I'll try and make it bigger. Okay, you're happy that Boris Johnson has disappeared. Oshin, I hope you're well. Welcome to the stream. Welcome, Madiyet Mello. Madiyet Mello, very nice. Double guitar. Sorry, I didn't say hello to you at the beginning. Sem Priest, welcome. Belfasta, welcome. Okay. So we have here, this is the information for yesterday. So it says Italy and Spain's daily death toll are plateauing, but in the US every day brings more deaths than the last. So if you can see the map here, we can see here how Italy has been plateauing. So it has about 10 days ago, Italy had reached the top of its curve and it's went down slightly. Now I can tell you that here today we have seen numbers rise slightly again in Italy. So we had hoped that things would decline and continually decline. Hello, Jamie. But unfortunately they have increased slightly. So it does look like the plateau is going to last longer than we had hoped. Now, some worrying figures are coming from France. We can see here France and Spain overlapping each other. Lubilou, hi. Fortunately, France is on a terrible trajectory. We can see it's heading over towards Italian numbers, and then it's probably going to continue unless they are able to get their hands on it and get it to flatten the curve there. Hopefully they can do that. Unfortunately, of course, the US is in a field, how can I say, in a league of its own. Of course, a lot of those numbers are coming from New York City, and unfortunately also a lot of numbers are starting. So while they're clamping down and they're dealing with the crisis in New York City, it's springing up also in New Orleans. Hi Rinabo, welcome. Hi Meister, welcome. And you're wearing a mask, good one. Thank you very much, Glasgow Kiss. It wasn't here at the start. The extra live a week is a good idea. The extra live stream a week. Okay, good. Thank you. US is concentrated in certain areas. Many states have already have hardly any deaths. Even California only has a little of 300 of the 40 million. So yeah, so I remember a few weeks ago, I had a friend in California who was telling me that they had gone completely into pretty much into lockdown. That was a number of weeks ago. Yes, everyone give me a like. It helps the stream. Thank you. So unfortunately, in New Orleans, for example, I'm a cosplayer. We always wear masks. Good idea, Jamie. In New Orleans, they had Mardi Gras a few weeks ago, and the streets were full of people. And I read a very depressing statistic that a lot of the newly infected people are normally African Americans or people or members of the ethnic minority communities in the US, because a lot of them are, for example, UPS drivers or medical staff, and there are people who are also working in the service industries, Amazon warehouses, for example. So a lot of the people who are not able to self-isolate, not able to stay indoors and have to go out. A lot of them tend to be African Americans or members of the ethnic community, maybe Latinos or whatever. And unfortunately for them, they don't have the privilege of being able to stay at home. And no matter how boring and depressing it is, sometimes we think of how we're locked in. At least we can stay indoors, while many people don't have that. So I think it's important that we remember not just the people who are working for, the hospitals in the NHS, but also the people who are delivering goods, transporting goods around the country, delivering things to our homes, cleaners, working in hospitals and supermarkets or whatever. And a big share of the US prison population. Thank you for that. Yeah, I did a video the other day on the disaster of prisons. So it's another case of a certain section of society are going to be forgotten about because they're in prison. But they are, of course, a risk to everyone if they get infected. I think it was Andrew Cuomo said that this virus is a great leveler. It doesn't care about class or wealth or whatever, but not really. A lot of the poorer people are going to be worse affected than middle class or richer people. Cotton Cat says, not really. During the last few days, France added to the death counts from all of the nursing homes deaths since the beginning of the outbreak. They didn't have counted that before. Okay, thanks for that, Cotton Cat. So I thought it was Spain that had did that, but no, it's actually France. So the French numbers are more accurate than actually any other country, because I think a lot of the other countries, Italy included, they're not counting nursing homes and care homes. So the deaths in those, or people also at home, are not being counted. Not to mention the armed forces, not exactly covered themselves in glory there. Yes. What's the point of this discussion? It's going nowhere. Okay, well, if you don't like it, this is the normal way I do the stream, is facts trump prejudice. So I listen to you guys. I respond to your questions. If you have a question, please put it here. I'm happy to respond. Pot shop still open. Strange priorities. No, Jenny, that's a high priority. I'm joking. The Netherlands don't want to pay for Italy's department. So I think in Sweden they have just started to clamp down, and I don't know if there's someone from Sweden you can confirm that or deny that, but until recently Sweden didn't have a lockdown and people were free to do their shopping as normal, walk around the streets, go to parks. But now they've decided, no, we're going to lock down, which could be extremely worrying, because they're likely to see a huge number of cases by acting so late. But we'll see. It's a strange experiment to conduct, but we will see. Do you think Brexiteers still look at the US and think it would serve as an example? Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see what people in the Brexiteers think about the US healthcare system at the moment. But I think a lot of people who are supportive of Trump in the UK have gone quite silent recently. I haven't heard many stirrings from people saying, yes, Trump is the man to lead the free world. We don't really have any leaders at the moment. That's quite worrying. We need someone, doesn't matter where the country is, but someone to step forward and say, this is what we should be doing. This is someone who can command respect. But in the UK, there is Boris and he's in hospital. There is Trump, who until a few weeks ago was saying that it was going to go down to zero. It was going to go away with the warm weather. They commented it was going to go down to zero, like a miracle. Okay, and he was talking about reopening everything at Easter, because Easter is a beautiful time. So we're not we're missing a leader at the moment. Okay, Max. Hey Max, do you think the COVID-19 crisis will change society in a lot of ways, like getting universal healthcare in America, most community spirit in the world, or more isolation? So it's a good question. I think and what's interesting was a few days ago, Donald Trump's administration said that they're going to. So this is what they basically said. Said if anyone gets sick and they go to hospital and they can't pay, Medicare will pay for it. So the bill will be sent to Medicare. So which is basically Medicare for all. The thing that Bernie Sanders ran pretty much all of his campaign on. And many people on Twitter were talking about this, and they were saying if Donald Trump runs on Medicare for all, he will win in a landslide. And it would be complete, it would be him running to the left of the Democrats. And I actually talked about this in a video maybe about a year and a half ago, and I said if Donald Trump ran on Medicare for all, like he could do it at the last minute, like up until the last minute, until a few months before, he'd say, okay, I'm going to make healthcare free, like Bernie Sanders wanted to do. Now, I was thinking at the time that the election would probably come down to Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump, and I thought, okay, he might try to steal this from Bernie Sanders by saying, okay, I'm going to run on this and defeat Bernie Sanders in a way. Sorry, I'm reading the comments. So there is a possibility that after this, many people say, look, we need to have Medicare for all. So there is a good possibility. Now, there is a bit of a caveat here that this type of Medicare for all was only connected with the coronavirus, with the COVID-19. So it wasn't going to be universal. It was just for this. But I think if many people saw the value of it, they actually had to avail of it. They went into hospital and were sick with this virus and were cured and saw, well, Medicare paid for it. I don't actually have to pay for it. Then more people would question, why the hell do we have insurance companies then? Why are we paying a premium to an insurance company when the government can do it? And it's all about how it's marketed. If Trump said tomorrow, okay, we're going to have Medicare for all, it would be done. Now, I don't know how we get around the health insurance companies because they're extremely powerful, and they could, have a meeting with him and say, no, you don't want to do that. But I think if Trump saw it as a way of him winning the election, then he would run on it. He'd probably, after the election, go back to normal and forget about it. He'd use it as a tool to win. But he'd need to use, this virus, this crisis as a tool in order to do that. But he definitely could. And then I think universal basic income is another thing we need to implement. I was talking about this before, how something like AI, robotics, and automation, they're rendering fewer and fewer jobs available for people. So we would need some solution where people would have an income that they could spend their money on, and maintain jobs in the society. We need a way to live, because we're seeing now, imagine, look at the situation where we are now, where many people have been laid off because of the virus. Imagine the same situation where many people are laid off, not because of virus, but because a computer can do the job, or an AI can do it, or there's automation to do it. Well, what do people do then? They can't retrain for other jobs, because also those jobs have been outsourced to machines. So we need some valve in a way. You need to give somebody something so that they don't rebel. I think it's in government's own interest also to give a UBI, because if people have nothing, as we saw in the south of Italy, I don't know if you guys had seen the video of poor people protesting and attacking supermarkets to steal food, to take food. Robots are people too. People were going into supermarkets and saying, look, I don't have any money, give me the food. One man actually went in with a gun. I don't know where he got the gun from, but maybe the mafia gave him the gun. But the mafia, of course, are trying to push civil disorder because it benefits them. But anyway, people are going into supermarkets saying, give me food because I can't afford it. I have no money. The government haven't been supporting me. Government shouldn't be tolerating that situation. They should be working against that situation from evolving. So a UBI, while there's a huge cost related to a UBI, you need to get the money from somewhere. Now, for example, I think it was Andrew Yang in the US talked about having a UBI where you tax Wall Street transactions. So every time a transaction takes place in Wall Street, there will be a small tax, and there are millions of transactions per day. When you buy or sell a share, or a share price goes up and you sell it, and there's software that can buy and sell shares, thousands of them per second or millions of them per second. So you can have a little tax on each of those transactions, even 1% of a tax, and you would generate a huge amount of revenue, and that could be used to pay for part of the UBI. And of course, if you have people who have a UBI, then they're less likely to need to spend money to be a burden, more of a burden on the state if they have to, they don't need unemployment benefit. And also you don't need a huge bureaucracy behind unemployment benefit to make sure that people aren't abusing it or whatever. So there are a lot of savings you can make, but you need to think outside the box. You need to look at this in a different way. It's the complete opposite in a way to what's happening in the UK, for example, with universal credit. Universal credit is a complete disaster. There's more money. In some cases, sometimes there's more money spent on checking if somebody deserves to have that money than the actual money you're giving to someone, and that's a waste. How do you justify that? Sorry, I ranted on there a bit. The chat just goes so fast. Yes. So just to go back to our graph here, so we can see here, so as I think it was Cotton Cat said that in France the numbers are higher because France is releasing more data. They're actually giving, they're including deaths from nursing homes and care homes included inside this data. So that's one of the reasons why they're higher, which is sad in a way, because people who die in nursing home or people who die at home are still dying from the disease, and it's not right to exclude those people. But in a way, I think governments are happy to exclude those people. You didn't rant, thanks. Thanks a lot. The middle classes are now seeing the horrors of universal credit. Yes, so there's a lot of people, Jamie, who who had a job, a decent paying job, and now they've been forced onto universal credit. Wonder what happened in the world if there was a rule that you had to own the gold, silver share, etc. before you could sell it. That'd be interesting. Yeah, so that's how a lot of the financial institutions work. They bet on the idea of having the money in the future. It's like I lend you money until I have the money myself. But of course it exists within a system, and it exists on a computer. It's not real money. We haven't held real money for I don't know how long. Was it the gold standard was the last time we we actually had real reserves of cash. But I'm not going to go down that road because I'm not an expert. Look up Matter Prize Homes, Matter Prize Homes, Queensland. You'll be amazed. The sisters run Maraconda Hospital with it. Max, I wasn't complaining that the chat goes too fast. Someone thought she blocked me. Okay, yeah, no, the chat does move very quickly, and the more people we have on, the faster it seems to go, of course. Our system is based on debt. We need to have debt. This is the idea, and the politicians continually run on the idea we need to reduce debt, but you need debt in the country in order to have money. If there's no debt, there's no money, because debt is the result of money created to be spent on things in the economy by the state. So this idea we need to reduce the debt is just a trick by politicians. So there was another thing I want to show you. Just a moment. Max, will the EU survive? That's a good question, Hank. The EU needs to be a lot more proactive, and it needs to be having a much more hands-on approach. I think there is really a risk that the EU could disintegrate because of this virus, because of the many countries are thinking of themselves first. And after not thinking about the European Union. So I'm just going to read some of the comments here. Now you get the point. Money is what we as society decides it is. Fiat or hard currency is still numbers on a ledger. If anyone owns a car, phone your insurance. If you're in a lockdown, etc., ask for a discount from them, because if you're not driving, that's true. US companies are doing it, and one UK. Yeah, this is a thing. The insurance companies, if you're not driving your car, you can change your policy, and you can reduce, because if you're one of the factors that's included when they're calculating your premium is how many kilometers or miles you drive every day and how much you use the car. But if the car is sitting in a car park or sitting outside your home or sitting in a garage, then it's not a risk. So you by right should be able to get a discount. Frank says, hi Max, hope you're doing well, doing fine. Have you heard of Austria loosening their curfew? Yes, so Austria is, thanks for that comment. So Austria is our neighbor here in Italy, and I was quite surprised that I heard that they are talking about reducing the curfew and starting to open up some businesses, some stores and supermarkets, as far as I know, and hardware stores, which is, I think, is a logical step. I think what's going to happen is, as we move out of this lockdown, we'll do it, of course, in stages. Now, I hope we're not going to follow Wuhan's approach, where they were in lockdown for 4 months. I think they've just come out of it a few days ago. So they started in January and they're just out of it now. So that's a long time. I hope we're not going to go down that road. But so a Marshall plan for the EU. I think there needs to be a Marshall Plan, yes, for the EU. If American citizens revolt and fight when fast food specials run out, the USA has enough guns circulating for what each citizen could have too. So in Austria, they decided to open a number of stores. Now, I think it'll have to be a phased, taking it step by step. So I was just thinking about this myself, what maybe to insist on everyone wearing masks and gloves to enter, maybe increase the numbers who can enter. So for example, here in Italy, pharmacies will only permit one person at a time. I don't know what it's like where you are. We could increase that to 5 people per time, 5 people at a go. Then we could perhaps open stores that have the ability to respect somewhat social distancing. So not very small, cramped stores, but larger ones. And then perhaps bars and restaurants would be the last to open because they have more difficulty to maintain social distancing. So I think in Austria, what I've read was that they're going to open, restaurants will be allowed to open, but they'll have to be served outside. So they won't be able to be served inside, or if they are served inside, they have to be able to respect social distancing. So you're not going to find cramped restaurants with that are full of people. They'll probably limit the number of people who can come in. But I think it's probably important that we start to reduce some of the restrictions. But we have to be also careful not to do it too quickly, because we could have, of course, the numbers climb back up again. Reforming the social security system is a euphemism. Is a euphemism for. Reforming the social security system is a euphemism for reducing it. I think many politicians have used, we need to reform it, which is a way just to eliminate it. Thank you very much, Glasgow Kiss. Thank you for that link. The original purpose of futures is to reliable price to be set in advance to protect against market volatility. Example of farmers wanting to hedge. That's the theory. But instead it's a plaything for hedge fund managers. I remember reading about some years ago during the 2007-2008 crisis. How can I donate? There is if you click on the link, you can also send a PayPal donation, Simon, if you don't mind. That's great. I'll post the link again. Thank you very much. So in the crisis in 2008, I remember reading how you had these subprime mortgages, and then they were repackaged. So the subprime was, mortgages to people who probably weren't able to pay them, but they were repackaged in a way that they'd be sold off to an investment bank, and then the investment bank would repackage them again and sell them off to another financial institution, and they would repackage it again. So it would pass through a number of different tiers, different providers. And there would be a number of different things put in, council debt would be put in, mortgages would be put in, a lot of different things were put in together. And once somebody couldn't pay, the entire thing collapsed. I've just heard of a vegan grocery store ever been robbed. Just saying. Okay, I don't understand. Don't think the world will change, maybe you say. Do you think that they inform him about the number of deaths? He should be in good spirit then. Sorry, who are you talking about? HPV? Do you think that the CMO and CSO and their deputies are nothing more than the government mouthpieces? Perhaps. I just want to read some of the updates. So hopefully we'll have an update on Boris Johnson. So this is quite recent, 32 minutes ago. Real Madrid has become the latest Spanish sports club to apply pay cuts to alleviate the economic impact of the coronavirus. So, guys, what do you think about this? The idea that footballers and some celebrities are taking a pay cut. I'm sure Max accepts untraceable gold, Kragerrans, and Bitcoin too. No, Bitcoin, no, I don't. Has been attempted that they didn't make the energy to have the energy to make. Okay, it's disappeared. So what I think this is somewhat noble, but I don't think it really makes very much difference. The idea that footballers, well-paid footballers, will take a pay cut. Where does this money go? Does it actually be, is this money put aside and it's given to frontline staff like medical staff or what? The players and coaching staff of the football and basketball teams have joined executives in other departments in lowering their salaries by up to 20%. 20% isn't... I was thinking maybe reduce it to 20%, not lowering it by 20%. But anyway, in order to ensure that non-sporting employees are not affected and to help the club. The cuts were voluntarily, and a statement said, in contrast to those in Barcelona. That's interesting. Damn right the footballers should put the money in and support the lower paid staff. Yeah, I think but lowering it by 20%, maybe I think footballers could go a bit more than that. But how much money does Ronaldo earn per year? I have no idea. I think Ronaldo's the highest paid in the world, or he was until recently. Footballers deserve full pay from their billionaire employers. They only have a 10-year career. That's interesting to say, yeah, Mr. Sigma. Perhaps, I'm not against I'm not against footballers earning a lot of money. James Barry, welcome to the stream. Barry, sorry. Why did I say Barry? Barry, I couldn't read it right. James Barry. Long time no see. So I'm not actually against footballers earning a lot of money. Many people say, I'm against footballers earning a lot of money. It's ridiculous. They may be able to afford 10 cars, poor fellas. But something about football is professional football. I think he makes more like 100 million a month. Wow, Ronaldo. I don't know, but Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi were judged for tax evasion, and the fine was ridiculously high or ridiculously low. A week's wages for a footballer is like a year's wage for a lower paid person, yes. Which club are you a fan of? I'm not actually a fan of football. I'm more a rugby person. But then I'm a rugby person for Ireland, because Ireland, no offense to any other Irish people here, but Ireland are pretty crap at any other sports apart from rugby. So something else I wanted to talk about is the situation with the USS Theodore Roosevelt. So Theodore Roosevelt is an aircraft carrier that was commanded by a Captain Crozier, which is quite interesting because I'm a fan of the whole Captain Crozier from the the HMS Terror and HMS Erebus that did the Northwest Passage back in the 1800s. But so Captain Crozier of the USS Theodore Roosevelt. So this aircraft carrier. So what happened was a few weeks ago, I think it was about a week and a half ago maybe, his crew, some of his crew became infected with COVID-19, and he wanted them treated, and he sent out a message saying, look, we need to dock and we need to get these sailors off this ship because many of them are going to die. Surely Ireland is number one in hurling, though. Yes. But internal sports don't count. And Trump and his administration said, no, we're, man up, basically. Don't be a fool. Don't be naive. And I think it's something like 2,000 sailors are on this ship. And the infections went from 3 to 19, and then maybe up to 100 and something. And he was forced to resign. He lost his position on the ship. He was demoted, or he was fired, whatever. And the way he was treated, he cared about his sailors. And when he was actually brought off the ship, when he was forced to resign, he lost his command, I should say. He was actually infected himself. So eventually the chief, was it the chief of the military, the Navy, the chief of the Navy, the Navy chief or chief of the Navy in the US, he actually resigned after that. But the sailors were cheering for their captain as he was, led away. Apparently Trump ordered the sacking of that carrier captain. Typical, but disgusting. Thanks, Boris. Yeah. How dare he question my power? How dare he question my ignorance regarding this virus? Or how dare he point it out? But the idea that the captain was asking to dock, as far as I know, and he was being ignored, so he went, to hell with this. I'm going to broadcast this to the media. Why should the reputation of a bureaucrat, one of Trump's bureaucrats, be more valuable than the lives of these sailors? He said, we're not at war. If it's not a case of I'm disobeying a direct order during a military conflict. No, this is peacetime. These sailors have to get off. They have to be treated. It's disgusting. The U.S. Army burns through nearly $1 billion gallons of fuel every year. As of 2017, there's 1.4 million personnel active duty for the U.S. Armed Forces. That goes along with another 800,000 on reserve. The grand total of 2.2 million. I see even a Fox News report has turned against him. Yeah, there is. You have to remember that there's some people on Fox News who are there to be critical. How many rectal exams has the nurses and doctors given Boris, do you reckon? You're very evil, Glasgow Kiss. We're here to do a rectal exam, but I have a lung infection. I have a lung problem. Yeah, but we have to do a rectal exam anyway. Don't you need lube? No, we go in dry. Anthony C says, helpless widower David Hoggett has been handed a coronavirus lifeline. The son bought the 70-year-old necessities after he was living on Domino's Pizza for a month, as he had no one to shop for him. Wow. Max, I think sack him because he made it public, putting security. Yeah, but he made it public, but the administration were not doing anything to save these soldiers. They were left out in the middle of the ocean, or in the middle of the sea. and he was begging for them to dock, and they wouldn't do anything. I don't think he was not some rookie. He was a captain, and I'm sure he was thinking about his career also. He said, "Look, if I do the wrong thing, I'm going to lose my career." And I think he made a choice. I need to dock, and they ignored him. And then he said, "Okay, to hell with this. These soldiers are more important than my career. They're more important than Donald Trump. They're more important than the government." But what was the security? I don't understand the security risk. Like, if they said there's some security risk, but what was the security risk? If he had brought them aboard and he docked and allowed them to exit to how can you say exit the ship, to come ashore without being checked, that would be a security risk. That'd be a much bigger security risk. He was saving 4,800 sailors. That says a lot about the people. Yeah. A lot of people, as Trump would say. That's a lot of people. I was going to kill a lot of people. Tremendous number. Actually, the ship's containment is getting towards 6,000, including the air wing. Wow. Ship's complement is getting to 6,000. It's like the total number of cases in New York City or something. I don't know if New York is up to 6,000, but it's like the amount of infected in a small city. Captain of aircraft carriers move on with the Admiralty. His job was captain as to protect his crew. I remember someone telling me that the captain is always the boss on the ship. So if Trump were to go on the ship, on the aircraft carrier, Trump would have to sit his ass down, even though he's the president, even though he's the commander-in-chief. On that ship, he has no privileges. Because he's a politician, they allow him, they allow politicians to say and do what they want. But technically, according to marine law, the captain is the captain is the head honcho, is the boss. It's a floating city with an airport. Yes, it's really, those aircraft carriers are something to behold. A completely infected nuclear carrier lost in the middle of the ocean, unable to be operational, is worse than anyone knowing that it's a safe in a port. Exactly. So let's see what Macron has to say. French President Emmanuel Macron has offered his full support to the World Health Organization in a call with its director a day after his US counterpart's criticism of the international organization. An official has told the Reuters news agency. Macron reaffirmed his trust, his support of the institution, and refuses to see it locked in a war between China and the USA. So Trump has been criticizing the World Health Organization for being too pro-China. Now, I think this stems from the idea that many people believe that China have been fiddling the numbers, fiddling the figures regarding cases, and also how slow China were in responding to this virus, and the secrecy surrounding many attempts to confirm that there was an infection. And I think a lot of these criticisms, I think it's important to not get deflected by who's creating these criticisms, or who's presenting these criticisms, I should say. Just because Trump is an idiot, and I completely disagree with almost everything Trump has to say, but if Trump is criticizing China, it doesn't mean automatically that he's wrong. And I think China is an interesting case, because China has the positives and the negatives in regards to dealing with this virus, because you have a closed society that's able to control its population, strictly control its population, control the narrative, control the flow of information. And this is very good when we're dealing with a crisis like this. But then on the other side, they will sometimes do this to protect the state, not to limit the damage that the virus will do, but to limit the amount of damage it's doing to the state, to the party. And this is, of course, is a negative. A very good parallel with this, a very interesting parallel is, I don't know if you guys have seen it, I've been reading the book about it, is Chernobyl, where imagine, so in a way, Chernobyl happened because of the Soviet Union, the way the Soviet Union was constructed, how it operated. But it was also dealt with, because it could have been dealt with, or it was dealt with, thanks in a way to the way the Soviet Union is constructed. If Chernobyl had happened in another country, I don't think we would have had the resources. I don't think we would have been able to convince people, ordinary citizens, to go into that place and sacrifice themselves to stop it. In many cases, many people were going in to their deaths not knowing it was so radioactive, or they had no concept of what radioactivity even was. So I don't know if you've seen the TV show from HBO. It's extremely well made. But you have a government who controls everything are able to lock down better than here in Italy, for example. We weren't able to lock down as well as China did. So I'm not excusing China, of course, but I think it's also, in a way, we have to look at what China did was, in a way, this situation could have been much worse if they were more open about it. It's possible. Of course, I start blabbing away. Let me go back up again, because somebody had asked me a question. William had asked me, my local pub owner has a massive rave the night the government closed down all the bars. Today my local pub owner died of... Oh my god. So I guys, I don't know if you saw that. So I'm just going to read out William's comment again. So he says, Max, my local pub owner held a massive rave the night the government closed down all the bars. Today, my local pub owner died of COVID-19. That's a twisted irony, isn't it? It's sad, but it's kind of his own fault, yes. Fukushima, yeah. But just back on what William said, the idea that... What did he gain from that? He gained a few quid for a bit, and then it came back to bite him. I'm not happy that this happened to him, because there's no doubt that people who went to that rave probably got infected as well, and they infected other people who didn't go. You know, people who may have stayed at home. Those people came back from the rave, and they infected family members or colleagues at work, or people on the street, which is extremely sad. You know, that's why everyone must lock down. It's a sad Darwin Award, yes. Great idea closing them down on a Friday night, wasn't it? Yes. I really don't understand why Boris wasn't strong enough with it. He was like, please guys, don't do it. Some people responded with saying, well, we're an open society and it's better to ask people not, to break the law, to ask people to consider these things. No, we have, on something like this, we can't hope that people will respect the rules. Someone tried to imply that the sailors were infected by frequently sex workers on shore, and the captain was looking for cover. Who said that, Anthony? I imagine someone from Fox News, probably. Because if the president had been a Democrat, you can be sure that the Republicans and Fox News would be saying, this is a disgrace. How can you not allow... How, you know, imagine if Obama had complained about the captain. The Fox News would be saying, how dare he disrespect the military? These people died for him. So the partisan politics is just so disgusting. Hi all, I haven't been, sorry, I need chocolate. I just last part. So I'll scroll back up again. Hi all, I haven't been outside for weeks, says Kim. Recovering well and finally have an online shop delivery coming on Saturday. After trying for days to book a delivery slot, I need chocolate. Hopefully your chocolate will arrive soon, Kim. Glad to see you're getting a lifeline. Kim, I feel, yeah, it's about 2 weeks for delivery. Last I checked. Hope you're all well. I saw something. Sorry, this situation in China is still much worse than reported. Other than the actual reported 81,000 people infected, is probably more than 20,000 people. I assume you see more than 20,000, 200,000. The numbers infected, we will probably never know, and it's the same as the numbers who have died. We'll never know, because we have to remember how many people were killed by it in hospital, how many people died were killed by COVID-19 at home or in nursing homes that are not counted, and how many people were killed, died because they weren't able to go to hospital for unrelated illnesses. I saw a very painful image today of a woman who was waiting for chemotherapy and she wasn't able to go because the hospital have cancelled chemotherapy sessions for her. I hope she'll be able to recover and this will be back up and running as soon as possible. But we have to remember also those people, and they will never be counted as victims of this, even though they are. I ordered plenty just in case we don't get another delivery. What flavour, Kim? I spent £20 on a massive tin of coffee to see me through the lockdown. You can't be buying chocolate and coffee. You need to be buying toilet paper, don't you know? The Democrats, Obama, had dealt with epidemics and prevented them from becoming worldwide pandemics. That's what happened when you listen to the experts, yes. So Obama had a team in China, a group of American scientists in China. And one of the first things Trump did, I think it was in 2017, was to shut them down. It's like anything Obama did, Trump had to go in the opposite direction. Max, do you believe that there will be a boycott of Chinese goods by people? And I don't think so, because we are so dependent on China. And then it's very, very difficult to boycott. If parts for a machine are made in China and the machine is made in Europe or in the UK or in America, it's very difficult to boycott that. There may be some politicians who will probably, will probably attempt to use it as a political